What is going on, everyone? So in this week's video, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I have 4 photos I wanna show you guys, and they all have a common theme. There's also a lesson to be learned based on these 4 photos. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by showing you the 4 photos one by one. I'm not gonna have too much commentary as I show them to you, and then we'll kind of go through them a bit after that. So here is the first photo right here. Here is the second photo. This is the third photo, and finally, here's the 4th photo. So all these photos have something in common. I'm sure the easy answer is gonna be, well, they're all taken during the fall, and that's very true. And some of you might also recognize that they're all taken in Zion National Park, which is also very true. But there's something a bit bigger I'm going after here. So let's start by taking a look at this photo right here. This was taken during the fall of 2015, and this is one of the first successful photos I have of just pure chaos. I didn't realize up until this point that aiming your camera at something incredibly chaotic can be very soothing, because you have this really interesting pattern that forms from it. And warm colors go forward, cool colors retreat, so you get this really cool 3-dimensional sort of look to it. But this is a maple tree. This is in Zion National Park, as with all the other photos. And let's take a look now at this photo, the 4th photo. So this is also a maple tree. This was taken during the fall of 2019, so it was taken about a year ago. And on this one, I really liked having all this foliage up here with all these different shades and different colors. And it doesn't last very long on the trees like this, because it's really just at that state of change where, you know, give it another day and they're all gonna go yellow is kind of what happens. But I love the contrast in texture and form between all these brightly colored leaves and then these, you know, harsh, rugged rocks down here. The cool tone, the warm tone, very light and airy versus really, really dense. So that is what attracted me to this scene. Now, what's interesting is that if you look at this photo, and then if you look at this photo, well, they're actually the exact same tree. And so one of them was taken in 2015, the other one in 2019. But if we look at the photo from 2015, and I overlay the picture from 2019, this is what the scene looked like. So this photo here taken in 2019, I'm down in the wash looking right across at it at the base of the tree, because I really want to show all those rocks in there. Versus this photo, I'm up higher, so I have a higher vantage point. And this one, I just really wanted to fill the frame with chaos. But it's interesting that one, you know, the exact same scene can look so incredibly different from year to year. And so I don't know if a lot of people realize that these were the exact same scene, but that is one of the things I do enjoy about returning to a location again and again, is sort of seeing how things change and how the conditions are different from year to year. So now with that in mind, let's go to the first photo. So this was taken during the fall of 2018 in Zion National Park. And what's interesting about this photo is that the wash is really, really pristine. It's not too often that you have the washes where they're not just chock full of footprints. And some rain had come through and it drained through there, and you have some mud ripples in the lower right corner. The sand is all really pristine. There's still a fair amount of moisture down in there. But when you combine that with the fact that this tree is at the absolute peak of fall color, it has really nice red foliage near the end of the branches, but the inside of the tree, there's still some greens and some yellows in there. And this is a state of fall color where the tree has so much life to it. There's so much color, it looks like it's, you know, burning basically. And it has so much beauty to it, but it also does not last very long at all. Give it another day or so, and then the leaves on the inside will change color. And then give it another day or so, and the red leaves will start looking very dried out. And then give it another day, they'll just be on the ground, which presents another interesting you know, ability to take a photo as well. But if we look at this scene and reflected light, the pristine wash, the peak fall color on the tree there, and then if we look at this photo right here, so here we have some damp sand. So water was going through the wash at some point here, and when the water's still flowing through the wash, the sand has no real features to it. It's just all the same color. But when it starts to dry, it takes on this really nice swirly sort of texture. You see the individual sand grains set against the background, especially when paired with some really nice low angle reflected light, which is what I have here. But this is also a very fleeting moment. So, give it another day or so, and this damp sand is going to be completely dried out. And it's just going to look like beach sand at that point. It's all going to be the same general light color, and you don't have the subtle differentiation in there. So this also represents a fleeting moment, but on a smaller scale. Now, if I go back to that first photo, what's kind of interesting, adds another level of dimension here, is that the photo of the leaf set against those wet sand ripples was actually shot right down here, right, this little area here. So this photo was taken in 2015, and then this photo here was taken in 2018. So a few years later, I'm photographing the same general location, but I'm ending up with a much different photograph. So now that we know that this photo and this photo are the same location, and then this photo and this photo, they're the same tree, to add another level of depth to the scene, all four photos are taken within about 50 feet of each other. So just around this corner is where you'll find that tree that I photographed. So here we are in this one small area where within 50 feet, I've taken 4 photos, and some of them are quite different from each other. And I think this really goes to show the importance of being very observant when you're out in the field, and also realizing that there is potential all around us when we're out in nature. And it's entirely up to us to realize that potential. There are so many times when we might go to an area and the conditions are just not great. Maybe it's overcast, maybe you have blue skies when you're hoping for clouds. But rather than fixating on that one particular photo you have in your mind, it's really important to go to an area with an open mind, because you may very well walk right past a photo with enormous potential. So if I go to this photo right here, I walked past this scene probably 3 or 4 times before I stopped and realized, hey, I think there's potential there. And the same is true for this scene right here. I walked through there and then kind of realized, well, that tree looks good, and start looking at the other areas around it and realize that there's a lot of potential there as well. So it's definitely important to realize that there's potential all around us, but it's up to us to realize that potential. And if you're not in the right mindset to see that potential, you're not going to see it. So I think it's really important to just be a very good witness to the world around you. And there's another important lesson to be learned here as well. And it has to do with revisiting locations. So it's when we revisit a location again and again that we learn when the conditions truly are special. For example, the wash here, which is really pristine, in combination with the really nice fall foliage here, and then also the really nice reflected light. When I saw that, I knew that the conditions were ideal, whereas if I was not familiar with this location, I may have been more curious about what was around the next corner. So there's a lot of value in returning to a location, and also just having that open mind when you're out in the field. And even though you might have a particular subject you really want to shoot, you got to stay open to the potential of everything else around you, because I can almost guarantee you that, as you're walking to whatever it is you want to shoot, there's so many different things you can shoot along the way, just so long as you have that mindset that there is, opportunity all around you. So I thought this was an interesting little exercise as I'm gearing up for my fall trip to Zion. And I was going through these photos and realized, hey, these photos are all right next to each other. So it'll be interesting to see what I can come up with on this year's fall trip. And who knows, maybe there's something buried in there I'll find as well. But I want to thank everyone for watching. We'll see you around next time.